Hi, I'm Dr. Marty Rosen with my wife, Dr. Nancy Watson, and Dr. Marcus Chacos. He is an Australian chiropractor that has been in practice for 27 years. I've known Marcus for a very long time. I've done a number of workshops and seminars with him. He presents on chiropractic philosophy. He's talked to numerous groups. He does chiropractic marketing. He's written several books. He is a past member of the Australian Spinal Research Foundation. He helps chiropractors become authors, write books of quality, consciousness. He is a philosophical pioneer, and he has been pushing the chiropractic story for many, many years now. And I'm honored to have him with us. And again, I'm going to turn this over to you, Marcus, and please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you, Marty and Nancy. Thank you both as well for the work that you do. Before I even begin about me, it's just a shout out to the incredible service over such a long period of time you guys have done, and you are incredible thought leaders in the profession. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Well, I think if I give a brief introduction, I think like many chiropractors, I love chiropractic. I have found chiropractic so profound and powerful in my own life, the lives of other people, and so it's something that I have come to really embrace as a lifestyle and philosophy for myself, and endeavour to bring that into the lives of others. I operate from a really philosophical neuroscience basis. I have incorporated pediatric to aged care, from health and wellness to transformative chiropractic leadership in people's lives. And so I went through the University of New South Wales and Macquarie University while it was still strongly philosophically based, and integrated that as a practice model and approach where chiropractic became the method of meeting the practice member where they're at and leading them where they would ideally like to go, which is restoring their spine, their nervous system, and fulfilling their health and life potential. So chiropractic for me has been a lifelong journey and a way of fulfilling my own potential and leading people to their own as well.
Well, that introduction alone is an education to what chiropractic
Absolutely.
really is. I mean, that's enough. We could just drop the mic and walk away with that. No, that's really awesome. We do appreciate what you do, and we do appreciate how much work you've done with really trying to raise the philosophical bar in chiropractic and really get us to understand what it's all about.
Yeah. So, could you share a little bit about, how you keep going? Like what motivates you? I mean, you've been doing this for close
27
to,
years,
close
right?
to 30 years. So, maybe something that inspires you, what has kept you continuing on the path?
And just one more thing, and could you interweave a little bit how you got into chiropractic?
Yes.
A little bit about how you, got here.
All right. Well, there's two elements to that. Well, actually, the first part I will interweave how I got to chiropractic first, because the story really actually flows on from that approach. So, unlike many chiropractors who had chiropractic either families or experienced chiropractic as a transformative process in their lives and said, I have to go become a chiropractor, I had not even experienced chiropractic, did not know chiropractic existed. And my partner at the time, Hannah, who then is now my wife and mother of my 3 children, she had chiropractic as her health philosophy growing up, and she, at the end of school, enrolled in chiropractic, and I did not know what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to be in the health field. I knew that there was a vision that I had for my life, helping and serving people, and I literally just followed her like a little bit of a lost lamb, enrolled in chiropractic, and she deferred for a year to go over and have a gap year and travel the world, and I was like, I'm not in a position to do that, so I'll just fulfill on what I'd already done, which is booking to going into chiropractic school. And I attended at the University of New South Wales a science degree, but at that time it was also combined with the Sydney College of Chiropractic. And at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night, we had our first philosophy lecture. And I was not enthralled by having to do maths, biology, chemistry, physics again, and didn't feel inspired by the science. However, John Kelly, one of the great thought leaders in philosophy and chiropractic, said, as an opening line, there is a universal intelligence in all matter that constantly gives of itself properties. It's maintaining itself in existence.
Wow.
I'm an 18-year-old, just turned 18, and I looked at him and said, I have no idea what he just said. I don't even understand those words. But I was changed in that moment in a way that I can't give words to or explanation of, knowing that I'd found home. I couldn't apply logic to it. There's no reason for it. It was simply, I melted into those words without understanding them, without even knowing what they actually meant. And that was a turning point in my life, the trajectory which has never changed.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
so I owe so much to Hannah for awakening that within me, and for our three children, and also for John for speaking into my heart the philosophy of chiropractic.
You know, one of the things that we notice about doing these classes and lectures, and the people that we have chosen to speak to are people that not only we highly respect, but people whose passion has come from the inside. Their chiropractic passion, it's things click. I have a similar story. We talked to John Sema, we talked to Vinny Esposito. I mean, all the people we talked to in practice 30, 40 years, it is something that moved them internally, which is, you know, so much. And I knew you probably could talk more about it, but also when you talk about, you know, talking to your patients, it's about them making that choice. It's the internal shift that makes the difference. But yeah, I love to hear that stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, you were in the right place at the right time. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. And so that was the beginning. Tell us how you've carried on.
Well, I think you asked the question, and I actually knew that you were going to ask that question, so I prepared. And behind me there's this beautiful painting. And when you ask the question of, you know, what keeps me motivated, and you know what drives me, it's certainly the experiences we have with the client, with the practice member, and the changes that we see. And I think this is such an important story for me, that in cases what happened when I really found and understood chiropractic was the embodiment of what it means in people's lives. So if you can bear with me for a story, because I think this will awaken within people.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
And I've been adjusting this young girl, Shanoa, for, at that point she was 16 when this occurred, so 7 years. She came in with headaches, and we did an examination and did a neuro workup and adjusted her, did some, you know, the parts that everybody deals with. Headaches disappeared, came back. Headaches disappeared, came back. I knew we needed further investigation, so we actually referred out for an MRI. And as it turns out, she had a very, very rare neurological condition. There was 4 in Australia where an autoimmune process was taking place and actually dissolving her brain, half of her brain.
Wow.
And she obviously went down the pathway of supported by medicine as well. And I continued to adjust her every week over the next 7 years. And the condition, interestingly enough, most people with this condition don't live and have massive neurological complications and an inability to actually live out their lives fully and completely. So we knew that there was a trajectory of this child that was going to be devastating. And I adjusted her, and I continue to adjust her. And the expectations of her pathway were not being fulfilled. Yet there was still some declining processes that took place. And then at 16 years of age, the neurosurgeon said, look, she's having seizures now of significance. The brain damage is so great that, you know, we suggest that you do a hemispectomy and actually cut out half the brain. And the consequences of this is she's going to become, you know, hemiparaplegic. She's going to have a whole host of other consequences. We expect her rehabilitation alone to take 6 months before she's out of hospital. This is our prediction for you. Well, I might not have made that decision. The parents made that decision to go down that pathway.
Wow.
And they go into hospital, and while they're in hospital, they find out that the daughter's grandmother has terminal cancer in South Africa. And you know, she's devastated. She wants to go and see her grandmother, give her parting wishes, but she can't because she's scheduled for a hemispectomy.
Right.
So she has the surgery, and that surgery is by all means a success. They remove the brain, and they feel as though that this is going to create some type of a neurological integrity that's going to prevent seizures and protect this child from injuries that might not otherwise happen. And then she moves her hand, the one that's not meant to be responsive. And the parents call me. they told us that they'll never be able to move the hand again, and they're saying, "Oh, it's just reflexive. Don't worry about it." What could it mean? I said, "I don't know. I don't know, but just keep praying." And she was out of hospital in 5 days.
Wow.
Wow.
With some degree of paralysis, but movement, walking, opening doors with her hand. And the doctor said, clinically, we have never seen anything like this before. It's actually not possible.
Right.
And she got out of the hospital, jumped on a plane, visited her grandmother in South Africa,
Amazing.
came back and presented this to me. And she said, not me, as a 16-year-old girl, with tears in her eyes and me with just completely, a waterfall, where she came back and she said, I know I can walk and move because of what chiropractic has done to my brain.
Wow.
And I beat all of the odds,
Yep.
and I beat all of the neurological consequences of the surgery to get on that plane and see my grandmother. And I bought this with my own money. I framed it with my dad to give to you in thanks and gratitude
Wow.
for the fact I know I would not be here, would not have seen my grandmother, and could not have the mobility I have now without you and without chiropractic.
Wow.
Those stories, that gift is what keeps me going.
Yes.
That is human potential at its best.
Yes.
That is really changing the threshold. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, a hemispherectomy and being able to do that.
Well, it's we see little miracles all the time, and when you have something that's that I mean, it's a story. It's
astounding.
It's astounding story, and it's nice to have a reminder of that when we're in our office and day to day with with our clients. Remembering the human potential, and that's such an amazing demonstration. That's a great story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I think the piece, and I'm assuming that somewhere inside of you too, is the same thing. It's like when you're, adjusting people and you have that person who's, oh, my head still hurts and my neck still hurts, and you have all that. And then you realize the absolute potential of what you do, and you just keep doing the adjustment, hoping that eventually you'll be able to raise their neurological competency and their neurological consequence to really understand what we're trying to do. And, if your neck's a little sore, your back's a little tight, it's okay. But your internal human potential is what we're really going after.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for
That's a cool story.
That's a great story. That's a unique story to you. Thank you so much. And anything else like, we kind of focus on most of our teaching on the art of chiropractic. I mean, we know the science and the philosophy, is a driving force, but for us, the art of chiropractic, the actual delivery of the adjustment. Is there any particular technique or anything that you would share that you find kind of a go-to technique, or something that you could share along that lines with the students who are studying with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the first thing is, even before I discuss what techniques I have used, is to recognize, unless and until you make a commitment to master your technique, whichever technique it is, you are going to limit your potential and the human potential of the practice member before you, because mastery gives you distinction above all else. So when you have master teachers like Nancy and Martin and the opportunity to learn from them, take it, grasp it with both hands, and just immerse yourself in their wisdom, their knowledge, their mastery, because there is greatness in what you can do, and greatness in that comes from the teachers that you have. So for me, I've always used cranial therapy in the pediatric practice. It is an integral aspect. I have used activational kinesiology and sacral sitting technique, and I think all of those are integral to a successful pediatric and wellness practice. However, when I think about that answer, I can talk about the techniques in amazing depth, but I know you do a much better job with your mastery of teaching around that. My first technique, though, with pediatrics is to get down on the floor, on the ground, eye to eye, loving them with my heart, connecting with them, because that, firstly, grants them a sense of safety and security.
Absolutely.
Your presence with them, to me, needs to be the first technique. And Parker said, love is my first technique as well. So when you have presence, connection and love is your first technique, and you are eye to eye with that child, and you don't even have to think what the parents were thinking about me lying on the ground with their kid.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm meant to be a doctor, and I'm meant to be all serious and professional, taking this history and examination, and why am I sitting here playing? Because the parent is not the priority.
Right. Exactly.
The child before you, and the experience they have and the safety they feel coming from the love that you share is the priority, and that is my first technique.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I think you're 100% right. It's the connection. It's the intensity of the connection, not having anything else on your mind, being open. And so we talk about this too, about making the child the advocate for the office. In other words, they're so connected to you that they want to come in. They will drag the parent in as opposed to dragging the child. I want to go see Dr. Marcus. I really want to see him, And we hear this all the time in our office too. It's like, oh, she was driving me crazy. She kept going. She wanted to come see you. I finally had to make an appointment to get it. And you're right. It's that intention, that connection. You're right. Like on the floor, sometimes it's under the table. Sometimes, it's wherever it needs to be to meet that child. I think that's right. That is the first technique. That's before the actual adjustment, before the thrust, before the impulse, whatever it is, it's that connection.
Right.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, it just creates that safety. I mean, we know how stressed out parents are. We know how sympathetic many of these children are born to a sympathetic state. We understand all that, and to stop and to let them know that they're safe, that you see them, that you're connected. That it's just that starts the whole process, and it's so powerful for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
So the other thing, Marcus, is you do a lot of other stuff. So I'd like you to kind of address some of the other. I mean, I didn't want to read your whole bio to you. I want you to, but you're author, you're author of several books. You help guys. Your research. Yeah. Please talk a little bit about that, and then of course make sure we'll put it up too, but how people can get in contact with you and support what you do.
Yeah, share some of the other
because we know your passion is chiropractic. We know your passion is love. We know it's the adjustment. That's part of it, and we get what keeps you going. But now, what else keeps you going in our chiropractic profession?
Well, I think the reason I do all of those other things, and I know this would be true for you as well, is I love seeing transformation and being in a profession that serves those life-changing experiences. And the reason I have done these things is because the greater impact that you can have, the more you fulfill your own personal and professional potential. And so when you aim for mastery in your science, art, and philosophy, you dive deep into your philosophy and your chiropractic neuroscience, and you master the technique and skills and bring that mastery into a clinical aspect, you will see miracles unfold. You will see transformation that makes everything worthwhile, and that's what that story shared. I also know that if you expand that influence outside of your own walls into the profession, where for you there's this great teaching and mentoring and deep sharing of wisdom and information. For me, it was like, how else can I serve? What more can I do? What gaps are there, and what areas of new scope can be found? And for me, I began chiropractic education online as a knowledge banking of the great wisdom keepers of the profession. We've had the beautiful opportunity to interview you and many other great thought leaders in the profession, and create and host online digital events like the Neuroscience of Chiropractic Pain to Brain Summit, the Clinical Applications of Chiropractic Philosophy, Man's Greatest Gift to Man Chiropractic, a actual digital reworking of the textbook by Frank DiGiacomo. So what I have done is realize that in order for a chiropractor to fulfill their potential and their mission and serve at the highest possible level, there needs to be a growth orientation and access to information that is so transcendent, so profound, and so powerful. It evokes a service mindset in them and a capacity to serve at a higher level. So that is what I've been doing over the last number of years, is speaking to the greatest minds on the planet in chiropractic, so that that knowledge and that wisdom comes together, and you can immerse in it in your own time, in your own way, so that you grow, you expand your potential. And I find that every time I serve chiropractic, every time I serve a chiropractor, we are still serving the individual practice member within practices, and the far-reaching effect of that is so powerful, so transcendent, that it wakes me up in the morning a lot earlier than other people get up. It keeps me up late at night, knowing that I'm going to leave a legacy, and the mission that I'm here to fulfill on is to make the most profound change in the world allows me to be motivated to do more, to be more, to become more, to serve more. And you live more as a direct result of it.
Well, you're right. And I think that is the important part that, and we kind of want to, when we talk to our practice members and we also talk to the people who take our seminars and workshops and that, is that it's really important to hold a vision larger than yourself.
Mhm.
And that's what really, because that's what keeps you going. You know, the larger you make your world, the more expansive it is, the more energy you can pull in and the more energy you can have to keep going. So you're right. Creating a vision that's larger than yourself, whether it's to give back, whether it's to fulfill yourself, whatever it is, that I think is, you're right. It's one of the things that keeps people going and keeps them in the profession, as opposed to, you know, when you have a little microcosm of a world, if anything breaks in that microcosm, then your whole world falls apart. But when you have this giant macrocosm and see a big picture, I think it helps keep
And
you going.
I think it's the servant heart. You know, it's kind of, that's kind of the center of it. It's the heart of a servant, and finding the avenue where you can, you know, best make the greatest impact. Like we so admire the people that are in our profession who take on the politics, that take on the lobbyists, that are in the educational schools, that are in the clinics. I mean, all of this is important. We're all part of this, you know, puzzle of keeping this profession as vital as it is, as well as, you know, keeping the students engaged and the profession healthy and prosperous. I mean, those are all of our goals. And I think the avenue that we find that best suits our, you know, our skill set is,
Personality.
and personality. So we so appreciate the work you're doing in Australia. We know that Australia has had some issues in the past with pediatrics and stuff. So we are so happy that people are moving there and keeping this stuff alive, and
that there's people like you.
and not backing
still
down.
doing it.
Exactly.
And that you've only been practicing 27 years, so you got a good another 20 more years to go.
Exactly. You're
Marcus.
just a baby. You're just a baby.
No,
You guys are an absolute inspiration for me every time you know, 40 years, I think you were saying the other day, Marty.
yeah, I think it's 42 now.
42. Well, actually 43 of teaching, you know, so it's a lot.
That's a lot.
We taught our first seminar in 1980 while we were still students. So it's something that we both felt very called to do, and it's something that has carried us through our whole lives, is the teaching of technique, and you know, so it's something that we're very passionate about.
So Marcus, thank you so much for taking your time to do this. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
How can people contact you, or what's the best venue for them to contact you if they want to find out about your work?
I think the easiest is chiropracticeducationonline.com.
Okay.
And there are, that leads off to all of the other resources and assets as well. So
Perfect. Well, we will add that to when we, I said, when we share this, we'll make sure that we add that to, you know, to
the video.
To the video. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Marcus.
so much,
Yep.
Marcus.
Yeah.